Dr. Antonietta Gatti. I am a physicist and I have a sort of a PhD in bioengineering. And I worked at the University of Modena and Reggio Emilia for many years. And now I founded a new laboratory of nanodiagnostics because we wanted to improve our analysis, new investigations on new pathology called nanopathologies. I coordinated three European projects of research, and I developed a new type of investigation by means of a scanning electron microscope coupled with a system called energy dispersive system to detect particles, foreign bodies inside pathological human tissues, and with this machine identify the chemical composition of these particles. So I can trace these particles in the human life of the patient, and I can identify the exposure to an environmental pollution he had. That is a new type of investigation that allow to make a diagnosis, because we have many patients without a diagnosis. For that, we studied new syndromes and we verified many soldiers who were affected by Gulf War or Balkan syndromes. We verified also other patients from 9/11, and we verified that many new diseases were triggered by the dust of the crash of the Twin Towers, and we are able to identify this particle inside the liver, the kidney, also in the brain, and also in the spermatic fluid. So we know that this pollution can induce also sterility or also malformed babies. Our work is addressed to new pathologies, and we can make a diagnosis of heavy metals, particles, pollution, and so on.
And we have also your husband, Dr. Montanari.
I worked for many years as a researcher in applied research, because I made, for example, I made some pieces for cardiology. I made a heart valve, an artificial heart valve, biological heart valve. I made equipment for surgery, especially for vascular surgery. And after about, 25, 26, 27 years, I was the first to realize that what my wife had discovered in a very particular, very complicated patient who came to the hospital where she was working, I realized that what she saw was something not only innovative, but sort of revolutionary. Well, she discovered that the dust, the small specks of dust with which humanity had lived for millennia, for 2 million years, could be the source or the trigger of a lot of diseases. We discovered, well, it's not a great discovery because everybody can see that. We saw that now we men of the 21st century, then that it was still the 20th century, but we produce a lot of micro and nanoparticles of dust, which is totally new, something that is produced by factories, for example, factories that work with high temperature. For example, steel works, for example, foundries, for example, cement works, or for home heating or internal combustion engines, waste incinerators. They all produce a lot of very odd particles. Those particles are very, very small, much smaller than the ones that are produced by nature, and nature produces them with volcanoes, with corrosion, with the sand, with wood fires. But we produce a quantity that of dust that is enormous in comparison with natural one. And the difference is that the dust we produce is much smaller in size. And the smaller it is, the easier it is for dust to enter the human body. And we discovered that those particles can enter and go as far as the cell nucleus and interfere with the DNA and modify it. So the cell does not own its own old set of information. So the daughter, the cell that is born to the primitive cell, is not healthy any longer, because its DNA has been changed, but we don't know how. We don't know what the new information is. So those cells behave in a way that is impossible to guess. This is one of the causes of a lot of pathologies that have been christened by my wife as nanopathology. Nanopathology, with nano meaning nano dust, nanoparticles. So particles that are very, very small. And those particles are the cause of diseases, of pathologies like, for example, myocardial infarct, like stroke, like a lot of different varieties of cancer, like miscarriages, like something that people who are not, who don't know the subject may find very strange, like, for example, diabetes, because those particles can reach the pancreas, and the pancreas is not able to produce the chemicals that allow to metabolize, for example, sugar, fats. So one grows diabetic. So lots of different pathologies. So, for example, we discovered what happens with the blood of people affected by leukemia. They have 3 orders of magnitude as many particles in their blood as healthy people. So one of the ideas is to get rid of those particles, to clean the blood, to filter the blood, to remove those particles from the blood. If you remove them, you remove the main cause of those pathologies.
How work this machine?
Well, it's pretty easy. The concept is easy. You take the blood from a vein. You just stick a needle into a vein and have the blood flow inside through a filter. That filter is contained in a particular machine, and once the blood has passed through the filter, it is given back to the vein through another needle. So the patient has to bear two punctures. It must be punctures twice, but the blood, which is given back to the patient, to the subject, does not contain those pollutants anymore. So it's clean. It's clean. So it's something very easy. No pain. There's no pain apart from the puncture of two needles, and the procedure can be repeated as many times as you wish, and it can be applied to a lot of people who are ill, who have a pathology, for example, people who are affected by leukemia or other diseases that are caused by particles, and there are a lot of them. But it can be used on subjects who work or in any case are in touch with particles. For example, firefighters, for example, soldiers, policemen, people who work in foundries, in steelworks, in cement works, without any problem. They can repeat the procedure as many times as they want, because there is no dangers, there are no side effects, and it just take a few minutes. Probably, we don't know how long it may take, because it depends on how efficient the machine is. But in my opinion, not more than 1 hour, probably less than that. So it could be a means, something very efficient and very beneficial to many different types of subjects, and it can be applied virtually to anybody, and because we are all polluted up to a certain degree, we are all polluted by micro and nanoparticles. So once a year, for example, you can have your blood cleaned with that machine, just in an hour, without too much pain, just 2 punctures.
So we propose a new type of medicine, a revolutionary medicine, based not with the addition of drugs, but with the elimination of what is causing the disease. And the study we are carrying out are very efficient, and we discover the reason of many syndromes, many diseases. For instance, now we are studying the aerotoxicity syndrome and the SIDS syndrome. SIDS means sudden infant death syndrome. It is some babies, for instance, after vaccination, for instance, die. And we propose a new autopsy investigations. And we are discovering why this baby died. So it is a new approach. And I think that the medicine of the future is based on new technology of scanning electron microscopy.
Yes, what we are doing now is, for example, is we observe through our electron microscope, through the electron microscope we have permission to use once a week. We observe the brain of children who die. They go to sleep. They are put to sleep, and they die. They don't wake up anymore. It's called sudden infant death syndrome, and nobody knows why that happens. But we, looking into those brains, we see that they are full of micro nanoparticles. Most of them are made of metals, and those particles are not supposed to be in the child's brain.